Hello everyone, my name is Joanny and welcome to Love Qualified. I am the author of the 30-day poetry devotional called Outpourings of a Beloved Heart, and I am currently working on my first novel, which is a young adult contemporary Christian fiction. And in today's writing vlog, I'm going to be telling you guys all about my second novel, which I started working on. So if you watched my last writing vlog, which I posted sometime in December, I mentioned in that writing vlog that I was deleting over 5,000 words from my novel. I think in total I deleted about 7,000 words. I finished the 5th draft, and I was saying that I wanted to send it to another set of beta readers so they could read it and give me feedback. By God's grace, towards the end of December, I was able to reach out to some of my author and writer friends that I met through YouTube and through Instagram. I reached out to them and asked them if they would be interested in reading my novel and giving me feedback, and quite a few of them said yes. So I sent my manuscript to them, and it's currently with them at the moment. I gave them until the end of January. Today's the 18th of January, so I'm still waiting for their feedback to come back to me. Since my first novel now is with beta readers, I've had some time to think about the second novel idea that God has laid in my heart, and I just thought I would share with you guys what the second novel is, because I'm so excited to write it. In fact, I've already started writing it, but we'll get to that part. I was born and raised in Cameroon. Cameroon is in West Central Africa. It's next to Nigeria, and I went to primary school there. I went to boarding school there, so secondary school. Then I moved to the UK and I went to college and now university. And my favorite books while growing up were books that were set in Africa, so books that were set in Cameroon, Nigeria, and other African countries. So ever since I started taking writing seriously, I've always wanted to write a book that is set in Cameroon, which is my home country. And so I'm introducing to you guys Project Cameroon. So that's not the real title, of course, but I'm calling it Project Cameroon because it is set in Cameroon. I am so excited for this because it is going to force me to relive all my childhood memories, and just to put myself back into me being back there in Cameroon, and to imagine all the places I'm going to write about, all the towns and everything else. And so I'm so excited for this story. Anyway, so I knew I wanted to write a novel set in Cameroon, but I didn't know exactly what the storyline was going to be about. So I had some sort of ideas of the characters in my mind and the storyline, but it kept changing as God kept inspiring me. So I started off with the story that had one direction, and then as I jotted down some ideas and scene ideas and stuff, God was kind of shaping the story in my mind to a different direction. And right now, the final outline is nothing. It's not close to what I initially had. What I did when I first had the story in my mind is I took my trusty notebook. This is my writing journal, and what I did was I jotted down all the different scenes that I had in my head. So I started writing down scenes for things that could happen in the story. So I knew where exactly I wanted the story to begin. So from the beginning I knew where it wanted to end. It's just the bits in the middle that's always the hardest bits to come up with ideas for. So this is my writing journal. I just started jotting down different things, different scene ideas, and I've just been writing it down. And then from this, I created an outline. So I'm going to turn the camera around so I can show you guys what I was using to create my outline. This is the Save the Cat beat sheet. If you are a writer or an author and you've been around an author tube, you might be familiar with this these beats. It's based off a book by Jessica Brody, where it's about different plot points that happen in a novel that helps to tell a good story. So it's basically just a guide. It's not for every single person to follow, because not every book is written according to these plot points, but it's just basically a guide. So what I did at first was I just wrote down all the different beats. So the opening, so this is Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and I wrote down, so you have the opening image, the theme stated or life lesson, the setup, the catalyst or the inciting incident, the debate, and then you break into Act 2, and then the B story, fun and games, midpoint, bad guys closing in, all is lost, dark night of the soul, the climax. Then you go into Act 3 and you talk about the resolution, the finale, and the final image. So this is what I use to create my outline. So the very first outline I made for this book was a very loose outline, and I made it, I think I made it in 2018. I used Scrivener, so at that time I was still using Scrivener. I don't use Scrivener anymore. I'm using Google Docs at the moment, because then Google Docs helps me to write in different locations. I don't need to write on my laptop, I can write on my phone as well. So I wrote the first 3 chapters in March 2019, and then I left it alone, and I can't start writing something when I don't have a full outline. So I have to have some sort of outline. When I start writing, I can deviate from my outline a little bit, but that's fine. But I can't start writing if I don't know where the story is going to go, because then I'm just going to hit the end of the wall and I'm not going to know where to go. So before I went home for the Christmas break, I finished writing a more detailed outline, and I'm going to turn the camera around so I can show you guys. So this is a template that I got from Adele Marie, who is a author tuber here on YouTube. So she outlined by scenes, and for each scene she wrote the scene number, the chapter number, who is in the scene, where the scene takes place, what is happening. So for example, this is for my opening image, the goal of the scene, the conflict, and the resolution. So I did this for all the different beats for my outline. When I finished with my outline, which was before December, I continued. So I went back again and I fleshed out the first 3 chapters, and then I continued writing. And by the time I left home, I think when I left home and came back to uni, I think I had written up until chapter 7 or 8 or something like that. And I also needed to create a character profile. So I knew a little bit about my main characters, but I wanted to make a detailed character profile so I know exactly what their motivations were, their short-term goals were, long-term goals were, so that I could have an idea when I'm writing them. So this is my main character. Her name is Priscilla. She's 18 years old and she is so beautiful. I love her. I love her short hair. This is Eunice, and this is Priscilla's aunt, so her mother's sister. This is the best photo that I think depicts Eunice's character in this story, and so this is the photo that is going to remind me of her character, so that's what I've put there. This is Emilia. Emilia is Priscilla's mother, and she's also a very important character in the story, so I thought I would get to make a proper character profile for her so I could understand her motivations and the reason why she does things. So if you ignore the girl in the background, this is Emeka. He is Nigerian, but he is the love interest. So he comes on in Act 2, where you talk about the B story, and he is very important to Priscilla's arc, and he does something very, very important in the story. He plays a very important role in the story, and so I need to flesh out his motivations and his goals and everything like that. So this is the love interest. And finally, this is Eliza or Elisa, or I don't know how you want to pronounce it. She is Priscilla's friend, one of Priscilla's closest friends. She's very important as well to Priscilla's character arc, so I decided to make a character profile for her as well. And those are all the characters that I have done character profiles for. So this is an aesthetic. So remember that I said I had to remind myself of what life was like living in Cameroon as well. So I decided to search the internet for different photos that could help me just put myself back in Cameroon so I can be able to describe what it looks like. There's going to be a scene where this photo would be important, and so I put that photo there, just like Cameroonian food like suya and people carrying water at the tap and stuff, and children playing outside in the compound, and just the motor park as well. So no, the bus station with buses and the commotion and all of that kind of stuff, and Mount Cameroon, which is my hometown, so where I used to live when I was in Cameroon. Just looking at the mountain there, the mountain view there, and then the market as well, so the marketplace, like what they looked like, and just writing all those things. So these are all important for the story. And the most exciting thing is I was able to find different pages on Instagram that post photos of from Cameroon, and so all these photos inspire me so much. Like I really love this photo, and this one as well, and this one as well. There's just so many photos, and I just feel like I'm going to have a lot of inspiration from there. I just really love this. Let me show you. There's a one where this photo is so inspirational, like looking at a sunset in Cameroon, and this as well. This is a sunrise. There's a scene where I'm gonna have to describe this, and I really love this. This is such a great source of inspiration, and so I really love this. And this is the love story-ish. This is where I got that photo from. So this is very important. Okay, obviously the girl is not Priscilla, but the guy is some sort of inspiration for Emeka. Yeah, so I really love these. This is like such a great inspiration. I can't wait to, you know, describe all these scenes and make people see them when they read my book. I feel like the book is going to deal with a lot of it is going to be based on inspiration, on description, sorry. So if I don't do my best at describing all of these, then you won't be able to experience all these things. So I'm gonna have to do a very good job at describing these scenes so people can actually, you know, experience Cameroon for themselves. I think this is such a beautiful photo. So yeah, that's the aesthetic. So last night I finished chapter 11, and I'm currently about 19,000 words ish. And the next chapter, chapter 12, is going to be the B story. So I'm now in Act 2. It's going to be the B story, and this is going to be when Priscilla meets the love interest Emeka. One important thing that I forgot to mention in this which is very, very important for this story, is the fact that it's going to be set during the time when the civil war in Cameroon started. So if you're not aware, there is a civil war that's going on in Cameroon at the moment between the French speaking part and the English speaking part of Cameroon. And because I've read loads of African books, or books set in African countries that talk about life during the civil war, after the civil war, before the civil war, the civil wars that have gone on in the country, and just taking the characters through that. So you have this external conflict, and then you have an internal conflict as well. I wanted to base the story during that time, so I have to do a lot of research into what happened before the civil war started in 2016, and just using that as an external conflict and how that is going to change my characters' lives and the way they view things and the way they view God. And, you know, it is a Christian book. God is going to be a very important center. So he's going to be the center of the whole story. So I need to make sure that I do my research, so I represent the facts, especially because the Civil War is a real life event. It started in 2016. It's still ongoing. It's not fully settled. Like, things are a bit better now, but the problems have still not been solved. And so I want to make sure that I do a lot of research so I can represent this information accurately in the book. So, you know, if you read African literature, you know that there's some books that have been based during the time of actual wars that happened. So, for example, if you've read Half of a Yellow Sun by Chimamanda Adichie, that book is based before and during and after the Biafran War that took place in Nigeria. And she wasn't born during that time, but she did a lot of research, and everything that she described in the book was very, very accurate. And there's other books and movies as well that's based on civil wars that took part in different parts of Africa. So, for example, the apartheid that took part in South Africa, and also in Rwanda as well, when you had the Tutsis versus the Hutus. I think that's what they're called. But basically, I think you get the point. So this is a very important thing in Cameroonian history, and I want to be able to represent that, dedicating it first to God and also to Cameroonians as well, just to share our story and to encourage others. So I'm very, very excited for this book. I just thought I'd come in here and share with you guys what I've done so far, what I'm working on. I am going to be waiting for, sorry I keep switching the cameras because this iPad is so heavy and my hand hurts. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wait for my first novel to come back from my beta readers. When it comes back, then I'm gonna work on the edits, and then I'm gonna update you guys on what's going on with that novel as the year unfolds. But just know that throughout this year as well, I will currently be drafting this new novel, and hopefully by the grace of God I'll be able to have a finished draft by the end of the year. I'll share with you guys milestones, and hopefully getting to the midpoint and finishing it this year. I'll share it with you guys, but I just thought I'll come in here and just give you guys bare bones of what the book is about. I think much later on, when I'm more comfortable with the story, I'll share with you guys what it actually is about, or give you guys a little bit of a pitch or something like that. But I just thought I'll let you guys know just the little tip of the iceberg. Let me know how your projects are going, and leave your comments down below and let me know, are you drafting, are you editing, are you querying, are you in submission? Just let me know. And just before I go, just a shameless plug here, don't forget to check out my book, Outpourings of a Beloved Heart. It's a 30-day poetry devotional all about God's love. Check it out on Amazon. It has original poems written by myself, reflection, some meditation, prayers and affirmations, and journaling prompts as well, for you to know more about God's sovereign love for you. So check it out on Amazon. Have a lovely day and God bless. Bye.